Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Fit podcast. I'm Taylor, and I am your host. This podcast is all about applying the different principles of quantum physics and quantum biology to your health and fitness. This gives us a holistic view of how different environmental factors, such as sunlight or cold, play a major role in your overall health. So I won't just be talking about diet or exercise and developing good habits. If you want to really make lasting changes in how you feel, think, and act, then I'd recommend you try to listen closely and have an open mind to what I have to say. Every day I'll be hitting you with a quick 7 to 15 minute long podcast. I keep it short like this because it makes it both informative and to the point so that you don't feel quite so overwhelmed with information. Also, currently I do not do any kind of advertisements. So instead, I ask that you share this podcast with a friend or family member if you enjoyed the message and gained something from it. I want to be able to spread quality and easy to understand content that everyone can take and use in their own daily lives. I would highly appreciate it. On to today's episode. Modern medicine is the new mysticism. I might regret using this title in the future. I might not. It is meant to be somewhat offensive. However, it's something that even a lot of people within the medical community can agree on. The modern Western medicine system as a whole has lost sight of its mission to heal people using the most up-to-date knowledge and understanding. Instead, it does quite the opposite by focusing on one singular thing, DNA. All of those damn tests they do now to see what kind of diseases you're going to be most susceptible to. They go one step further and assume that at some point you will get one of the diseases you tested positive for, or at least something similar to it. Ever since DNA was discovered, this has been what pretty much all medical science is focused on when it comes to treatments. If only we could treat genetic problems in the cell's nucleus, then we could cure everything. All kinds of drugs are tested and all of them fail miserably. And I could be wrong, but I read this a while ago, and maybe it's a different type of organism. I'm not sure. I need to look at it again. But I believe there's even some work being done on using some specific kind of viruses to deliver some kind of information, I guess, and basically directly change your DNA expression in the nucleus. Yeah, I can't imagine anything going wrong with that. So what? Why is this all a problem, them focusing on DNA? From the outside, it may seem like this is a really good thing, because it's what everything points to is, oh my God, it's the DNA. That's what it is. Okay, well, a doctor by the name of Douglas Wallace created the field of human mitochondrial genetics over 35 years ago. Okay, that's a long time to be in the game, as far as medical community goes. Yes, mitochondria do have their own DNA, by the way. One of the main things he has discovered is that finding too many mutations in mitochondrial DNA can result in the development of every single disease, no matter the tissue in the body, whether it's a metabolic issue or it's, something degenerative or cancerous, or just overall aging. It all comes down to mitochondrial DNA. Seems kind of like a big deal, right? All right, now, to the credit of modern medicine, they definitely have been able to show that many cancers will have, specific issues in their genes. There's expressions in the DNA that they can see and they're able to say, yep, see this DNA or this issue with the DNA, there's cancer. They're able to do that. But here's the thing, some forms of cancer show zero problems with the nuclear genome. There's no problems in the DNA. But guess what? All forms of cancer have mitochondrial genome problems. Every single one, 100% of them. So, maybe we shouldn't be focusing so much on the genes of the cell, but instead the genes of the mitochondria? All right, so here's a big word for you, but I'll explain what it really means after. The greater your heteroplasmy rate, the worse off your mitochondria and overall energy levels are. So a bad heteroplasmy rate basically means you're getting too many problems with duplication and mutations within the mitochondrial DNA. It's just like cells. If you get them multiplying too rapidly, the idea is you keep multiplying the DNA over and over again, you're going to, there's a higher chance of you stacking up mutations. You're going to get issues. Mutations are, that's what leads to cancer and really bad stuff. So as this duplication and everything and your mutations are piling up in your mitochondrial DNA, this is going to lead to more mitochondria are getting killed off just because they become useless. And the body needs to clean it out because they're just too far gone. But if you keep doing this over time, eventually you run into serious energy production problems. You don't have enough factories inside of you creating energy to power you. Okay, this is when any kind of disease will begin to show up. I mean, I guess there's some cases where diseases can show up even if you have high energy, but overall, generally, this is the rule. So, in other words, only once you start running low on energy will your nuclear DNA start expressing genes that activate disease. That's the main message of this podcast episode, and frankly, one that the medical community refuses to listen to. This is all to say that your nuclear DNA means, really, in my point of view, little to nothing. It's a great indicator for what will probably go wrong if you have bad mitochondria. And, of course, we know it programs things like your height, skin color, eye color, things like that. But it tells you nothing about your health, realistically. If, instead, you focus on healing your mitochondria, all of a sudden it becomes possible to fix pretty much any disease. And again, of course there's exceptions, assuming there hasn't been too much damage already, like, in the case of late stage 4 cancer. I mean, very, very, very few people come back from that, so you'd be damn lucky either way. So, if there's enough energy being created, though, all those bad nuclear genes that are being activated will get shut off and the disease progression stops. And again, this is where people can have potential to fully reverse the disease, depending on, what it is. And I guess I've been a little passionate throughout recording this episode. But again, I have very deep issues with how the medical community approaches things because, you can tell, again, the title, Modern Medicine, is the New Mysticism. It's because they stick their head in the sand. They don't pay attention at all to the fact that, hey, wow, this guy found that if there's mitochondrial problems, you're going to get a disease no matter what. So it's like, why are you focusing so much on your nuclear DNA when it doesn't matter? Who gives a shit about your nuclear DNA if the mitochondrial DNA is what matters most? Wouldn't you want to focus on the thing that has been shown to, 100% correlate with diseases? No matter what kind of disease you have, you'll always have a mitochondrial disease. Or you'll have, issues in the mitochondria, I should say. Well, anyways, I hope you guys like this podcast. I'm probably going to be doing another episode that's similar to this, the same kind of topic. I guess it's kind of comparing the, again, this modern Western medicine system compared to this kind of, I don't want to say new age, but, it's a system of looking at health through the lens of quantum mechanics. It's quantum health. It's not focusing on biochemistry so much and the cell, the nuclear DNA. But again, so I'll put out another episode that's similar to this tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. For any questions or comments about anything, you can find me on Instagram at RealQuantumFit, my personal Facebook page, Taylor Kelson, or you can send me a voice message across the Anchor app if you listen to me on there. All right, see you guys.